I might have made one of these about Ace. If I have, go watch it. I'll put it in the end card. I'm making this one first, so it won't be there as soon as this goes up, but maybe in a week or so, I might do one about Ace. Okay, fine, I'll do it.
Just because it's only 3 decades for me.
Ace is returning to our screens. Slash has already returned, depending on when you're watching this, in Power of the Doctor, alongside fellow classic series companion Tegan, who I also did a video about. It's the one I just played a clip of, you know, where I said I'd maybe do this video in a week's time or something, and then somehow 5 months passed. But this video is all about Dorophy Ace McShane, the leather jacket wearing, explosive loving companion of the 7th Doctor. In this video, we'll cover who Ace is and what the important parts of her story are, at least up until the end of the original run of the show. Her post-show continuity in expanded media is frankly probably one of the most convoluted and contradictory of any companion, so yeah, I ain't got time for that right now. So are you sitting comfortably? Shall we begin? Ace was born on the 20th of August 1970 to Audrey Dudman, according to the TV story Curse of Fenric, and Harry McShane, according to the Big Finish audio The Rapture. Her encounters with the Doctor start at a much younger age than you might think. She wasn't even out of nappies. In the short trip story, Ace of Hearts, the 7th Doctor visits Ace as a baby in 1971 and apologises to her about how he has, or I guess from her perspective, Will manipulates her about events with Fenric. Don't worry, we'll get to those. According to that audio, she wasn't an only child. She had a younger brother named Liam, born in 1974, but did not remember his existence until she encountered him in Ibiza many years later, as he'd been taken by their father to live with him when their parents had separated. In expanded media, Ace has in fact met Tegan Javanka before, during the events of the Virgin Missing Adventures novel, The Crystal... how do you pronounce this word? Bucephalus? Bucephalus? Crystal Bucephalus, I think. Although Ace might have not realised the connection, as this was before she started travelling with the Doctor. Tegan encounters as a teenage Ace working in McDonald's. Of course, neither knew who the other was at this time. Despite failing chemistry O-level exams, she was actually quite a proficient chemist, especially when it came to creating explosives. The most fun type of chemistry. She created an explosive of her own composition called Nitro 9, which she used throughout her adventures with the Doctor, often having some on her person. Her interest in chemistry was in part sparked by a particularly engaging science teacher she had for a while at school, a teacher who Ace felt was the only adult in her school who got her. According to the short story Chemistry in the Doctor Who Origin Stories collection,
this teacher had more energy than anyone she'd ever met. Running about the lab, pulling out books and jabbing fingers at relevant paragraphs, rushing over to the store cupboard and bringing various pots and beakers to the bench. And talking. By golly, there was lots of talking.
A female teacher who wore a grey long coat. As it turned out, Ace's head teacher had been cloned, and an alien race called the Charvelians was wearing that cloned body. Luckily then, the Doctor had been undercover as her chemistry teacher to save her in just her moment of need. Of course, that did mean that she then had to wipe Ace's mind of all the events afterwards. Probably could have been a bit awkward afterwards if Ace met the 7th Doctor, having already met a later incarnation. Ace always had a rocky relationship with her mother, a plot point which would be significant in Ace's character development when she meets her mother as a baby during the events of Curse of Fenric. Patience, we'll get there. When she was 13, her friend Manisha Pakayash was killed in a firebombing by neo-Nazis. Ace dealt with her anger and frustration at these events by setting fire to an abandoned mansion, a house she would return to later in its past during her travels with the Doctor. She claimed she had felt a haunted presence and had felt compelled to burn the place down. A 14-year-old Ace was a fan of musician Johnny Chess, real name John Chesterton. Yes, you heard that right. Chesterton, son of First Doctor companions Ian and Barbara. On the 15th of September 1987, while she was experimenting with creating her explosives in her bedroom, she was swept away by a time storm and deposited on the Nosferatu, the spaceship of Sabalom Glitz, in the far future. Currently docked at Iceworld. To survive in her new environment, she took the type of job we all do when we're trying to fill time before something more worthwhile comes along, as a waitress at an ice cream parlour. On Iceworld, that's kind of ironic. And it's here she meets the 7th Doctor and his then companion, Melanie Bush.
What's your name, incidentally?
Everyone calls me Ace.
Oh, how do you do? I'm the Doctor, and this is my friend, Mel.
Ace helps the Doctor, Mel and Glitz defeat Kane, the criminal ruler of Iceworld, and when Mel decides to stay with Glitz, instead of continuing to travel with the Doctor invites Ace to travel with him, saying he'll take her home to Perivale via the scenic route. Very soon, Ace and the Doctor found themselves in 1963 on Earth, facing off against two rival factions of Daleks, as well as Davros. Ace managed to destroy one Dalek with an anti-tank rocket, and severely damage another one by attacking it with her baseball bat, of all things. Okay, it was a baseball bat infused with some Hand of Omega power, but still, a baseball bat. A Big Finish audio of Doctor Who spin-off Class called In Remembrance has Ace, during these events of remembrance of the Daleks, briefly meet a time-travelled main character of that spin-off, Charlie Smith, who would then also be aided by an older Ace in 2016, when Coal Hill School was once again attacked by Daleks. During her early travels with the Doctor, she helped overthrow an authoritarian regime and its leader, Helen A, in the adventure The Happiness Patrol, visited the Psychic Circus in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, and went up against the Cybermen in Silver Nemesis. But the Doctor, the sneaky so-and-so, gradually began to take on a more manipulative approach to Ace, withholding information and taking her to places linked to her past without telling her. One of these times, he took her to the Gabriel Chase mansion 100 years before she had burnt it down. While there, she learned that an entity known as Light was what she had felt as a haunted presence when she had felt compelled to burn the house down. Another moment of the Doctor's manipulation came in The Curse of Fenric, where, while visiting Maiden's Point in 1943, Ace learns that her being swept up by the time storm and deposited on Iceworld was not an accident, but a scheme by the evil entity known as Fenric. Ace was a descendant of a Viking tainted with Fenric's genetic instructions to free it from its prison. Fenric had planned Ace to be a pawn in its plans against the Doctor. It seems that the Doctor was aware of this from the moment he met Ace, another piece of information that he had held from her. It also turns out that the villain Lady Pentifor from Silver Nemesis had also been a Wolf of Fenric, leading the Doctor to realise Fenric was close to returning. Ace's last on-screen adventure with the Doctor was in Survival, where she and the Doctor went up against the Cheetah People and the Master, the end of which saw them walk off with work to do. Well, I mean, last on-screen appearance unless you count Dimensions in Time, the charity special, which saw Ace and the 7th Doctor arrive on Albert Square, of all places, and meet various characters from the TV soap opera EastEnders. And as we all know, Dimensions in Time is canon. As I said at the top of this video, Ace's post-travelling with the Doctor life is probably the most convoluted and contradictory of any companion. Far too complex for the scope of this video. In some versions, she's trained as a Time Lord at the Academy on Gallifrey, in some she dies, some she simply chooses to leave the Doctor and either goes off on her own adventures or returns to Earth. And of course there is the founding of the charity, A Charitable Earth, which seems to be the one thing they are definitely sticking with for the upcoming special, at least. Maybe one day I'll go into that in another video. Subscribe to find out if I do. And check out this video on Who is Tegan if you haven't already. Also, thank you to Alia Torrie for voicing that little extract from the short story Chemistry there. What's the future hold for Ace? Hopefully some more adventures. But for now, see you later.